Hi guys, and welcome back to our channel. Today we'll be analyzing three cryptocurrencies, which are Ripple, NEM and Bitcoin. We will see where they might move over the next weeks and months. Please subscribe to our channel if you want us to keep releasing technical analysis for free. Well, if you want to receive our real-time alerts and our newsletter, then you might want to join our growing community on Patreon. You will find the link in the description field. As you can see here, we can start with the Ripple against US dollar on a weekly basis. In the upper section, we see the price and the sinusoid, which are the representation of the Gauss curve. Beneath, we see the Williams percent, and more importantly, we see the average cycle for Ripple. I've been explaining several times that the right way to understand the average cycle is by linking the point of low rather than looking at the highs. Okay, this is a very representative case because we see that Ripple has been moving inside a huge, I would say gigantic range for several years, okay, back till 2018. So what we can retrieve from the representation that we can see here. Okay, so very first understanding is that the average cycle for Ripple is equal to 8 months. Okay, which means we have hit a point of low at 0.26 in December 20, to be more precise, on the 28th December 2020. So what we should be expecting, as you can see here, once we see the sinusoid, we don't see point of high. Okay, we see in this case, but we don't see in this other case, also in this case. So the point of high are not aligned. But as I've been saying before, what is more important is that we know when we have seen the point of low for the current cycle. Okay, now I've been explaining and teaching several times that after a prolonged period of time and after a prolonged period of low volatility, we should be expecting a huge increase in terms of volatility. What is the volatility? The volatility is the dimension of the candle, which means the distance between the point of high and the point of low. So what we should be expecting over the next weeks? Definitely Ripple is enveloped inside a rectangle between this area, 0.20 US dollar and 0.70 US dollar. Also, second key threshold is definitely 1 US dollar. Okay, so the two very important key threshold for Ripple are this one between 0.60 and 0.70 and 1 US dollar. Once we will breaking above this level, we are definitely skyrocketing to revisit the all-time high. Actually, this is going to happen, I do believe, in the next months. I'm quite bullish on Ripple. We have just understood that we have hit a point of low in December 2020 at 0.20 US dollar. In other words, right now we are inside the ascending phase of the Gauss curve. Okay, so I do believe over the next weeks we should be experiencing again Ripple trying to retest this area at 0.70 US dollar. But again, this area between 0.70 and 1 US dollar is definitely a key threshold that Ripple needs to overcome in order to skyrocket and to visit new all-time high. So what is quite interesting is right now is that the real war is exactly here. So we should not be expecting, we should not be worried about Ripple after breaking above 1 US dollar, but definitely this is the moment that we need to see Ripple fighting and overcoming this area. Okay, but if we analyze the volumes, we see very important volume here, another second very important volume here, and another one. Now let's not be fooled out by the color of the candle, but let's be more focused on the volumes. Okay, so those volumes are really promising, and I do believe, again, even in this case, I'm quite bullish on Ripple. Ripple will be able to break above this area. Definitely, if you are not hodling Ripple, you might want to enter Ripple only at the break of 1 US dollar. Okay, why I'm saying this is because timing is equal to money, so let's not be waiting if you are not hodling Ripple for that time, because meanwhile we can make definitely better trades. Okay, so we for those one who are not hodling Ripple, definitely you can buy at the break of $1 US. Okay, let's move on. Let's see what we can see for NEM. Here I have a 4-hour chart for NEM inside the two envelopes. So let's move on. Let's see before the weekly chart in order to have a better overview about NEM, and then we will be switching to the 4-hour chart. And there is a reason why we're going to examine it. We're going to see what the 4-hour chart is telling to us. Okay. What we see here is that a break above the upper envelope, which normally means an extreme, okay, in fact then we have immediately after experienced a huge long black candle breaking above, breaking below the upper band. Okay, so we have hit a point of high at $0.90 US, then immediately after we have broken till $0.30 US. What we see here is a point of control, a huge increase in terms of volumes. Now let's not be full out. That's why I want to I want to study the 4-hour chart. So what is going to happen with the 4-hour chart will tell us in the future. Okay, so how is going to move NEM in the next future. So what we see here is a huge movement in terms of volumes. So there is a big fight here in terms of demand and supply. When this happens, normally we should be experiencing a movement up. Okay, so in other words, these volumes are a support. From here we're definitely going to NEM at least reevaluating this area, work in this area at $0.55 US from where we see the upper band. Okay, so this volume nevertheless is a red one. Again, let's not be fooled out by the color of the candle. Means that big hands have definitely either close their sell short or they bought NEM, and again I do believe NEM is going to move till $0.55 US at least. Okay, so here we see a classic case of a fake breakout downwards, and then we see a new demand coming in place with new long white candle. Definitely we are going to retest $0.55 US, but there is a but in terms of analysis for the next month. This long black candle is a very negative signal for us, so I do believe we are going to retest to have a movement up over the short-term trend. Yet for the long term, so for the mid-term and the long term, we will need to reevaluate, and we will need to see if this one, this long black candle will be neutralized by a long white one. Okay, so right now this long black candle in association with a very big increase in terms of volumes, a negative signal for the long-term trend for NEM. Yet I do believe we are going to hit a new movement up over the short term, but this 4-hour chart with this increase in volumes can be a very positive signal for us. It definitely for sure is a positive signal over the short-term trend. We will need to reevaluate the scenario in the upcoming months. Now let's move on. Let's analyze Bitcoin. Bitcoin, as you can see here on a weekly chart, we just experienced a fake breakout upwards. It's more visible if we switch to the daily chart. So what happened is that Bitcoin broke above $60 US with scoring a new all-time high around 62,000 US dollar. From here we have experienced a series of 3 long black candles. So in terms of forecast for the short term is a negative signal, obviously, because when that happens we don't need to see 3 long black candles breaking below the previous all-time high. Okay, so we should have experienced the retest of the previous all-time high, but from here we should have experienced a movement up again. Okay, now in terms of cycles over the daily over the daily chart, we see that for analyzing the cycles, the red curve above the azul one, yet we're now in a neutral area, because as you can see here the azul curve is breaking below the upper threshold. Okay, Now let's move on again to analyze the weekly chart in order to provide a scenario for the next weeks. As I've been saying several times for Bitcoin, the last bull cycle went through 2 years. So my estimation for Bitcoin is peak between May and September. In terms of cyclicity, we might see the point of high over July. So for those one who want to anticipate the market, if you are already hodling Bitcoin, you might want to sell at least a big part of your asset of Bitcoin and leave the rest of the rest of the total going up, or leaving and moving up, of course, your trailing stop. But what we see here in terms of weekly chart is that we see 5 candles. Well, more than 5 candles. So we're talking about many candles around right now that are above the upper envelope, which should contain 95% of the data. Actually, what is happening here happened here in at the end of 17, over the 17, and then we have experienced a huge movement downwards till the retest of the lower bands around 3,500 US dollar. Okay guys, if you want to receive our real-time alerts and our trading signals generated by our rope, then you might want to join our growing community on Patreon. Thank you guys.